Today on Public Eye News, Governor Gretchen Whitmer signs a series of gun violence bills into law. And later, an American company seeks to provide the U.S. government with a 50% stake in TikTok.
Beck Brearley will have your weather forecast for the next couple of days, and Luke Niddle will bring you today's sports breakdown. I'm Austin Graham.
And I'm Bianca Kroll, and this is Public Eye News. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has signed 19 bills to ensure the safety of Michigan's schools, homes, and communities. Whitmer said she signed 19 common-sense bipartisan bills to help the community stay safe from gun violence and other violent crimes. Whitmer also signed an executive order to ensure the safety of students in the new School Safety and Mental Health Commission. According to a press release, over $1.6 billion have been invested into making the state safe for Michiganders no matter where they live. Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist II said that keeping Michiganders and their communities safe is the top priority, along with teaching families how to properly store guns and keeping illegal firearms off the streets. And an NMU alumna tells the story of Marquette and the NMU community with her new book. Sharon Dilworth, the 1981 graduate English and French author, is set to feature NMU in her new book called To Be Marquette. The story is set during the time against the protests of the government-funded Project ELF. Dilworth based the main character Molly on herself to tell her story. Readers will see how different that time was and how students reacted to those events. Dilworth also talks about a late professor, Dr. William Robinson, who left a great impact on her at NMU. To Be Marquette explores the many aspects of college life, such as resident hall life, academics, and dating.
Pennsylvania and Wisconsin state Supreme Court elections are coming up, with both states' races expected to see significant campaign spending. Money is already coming in, and the campaign ads have begun in the Wisconsin race between Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel and Dane County Circuit Court Judge Susan Crawford. Republicans are looking to flip seats in different states to decide cases involving abortion, voting laws, and redistricting for Congress. State Supreme Court races have quickly become some of the most expensive over the last few election cycles, with both Pennsylvania and Wisconsin spending more than $70 million combined in their previous elections. The results of both races could be crucial in deciding cases, given how influential the court's rulings will be on each issue. And a new bid for the social media app TikTok could allow for the U.S. government to receive a 50% ownership stake. According to a source familiar with the matter, Perplexity AI, a conversational search engine, has submitted a bid to TikTok's parent company, ByteDance. The bid, submitted last week, proposed the Perplexity merge with TikTok's U.S. business. At the time of this writing, ByteDance has yet to reply to the proposal that would allow the government to own 50% of the merger between the two companies. Now, should the bid be accepted by ByteDance, the shares owned by the U.S. government would not have voting power, nor will it have a seat on the company's board. Nearly over 400,000 Americans die from cardiac arrest every year. CPR can double or triple the chance of survival, and first responders partnered with a Detroit school district to teach the invaluable skill. CBS Detroit's Alicia Bergio has more. Take a look.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic. In addition to that, CPR. And today, more than 200 staff and educators from Detroit Public Schools are learning this skill firsthand.
After each compression, let the chest come back up to its normal position.
It's a tool that saves lives. CPR.
You may be at the grocery store, you may be out at the park, and somebody collapses. You could be the difference between that person making it to Christmas or not.
Detroit Fire Training Captain Jeffrey Forbes says throughout his career, he's found this tool can be intimidating for some, but stepping into action during an emergency is crucial.
There we go. If somebody is in cardiac arrest, they're clinically dead, and you are covered by Good Samaritan laws by providing CPR. Get on the chest, start doing chest compressions, and help save that person's lives, and call 911.
We're going to move on to giving breaths to infants now.
On Monday, staff and educators from Detroit Public Schools were taught chest compressions and how to use an AED on not just adults, but students. A tool that hits home for John Philip Harold.
One time during a family event, there was an accident and a young man had got flown from the car, and my fiance was able to step in and perform CPR until the medics got there or whatever, and 15 minutes and you could save a life.
Harold says as an administrator at a school of just under 600 students, Teaching educators these important skills is a lesson worth learning.
And we have one school nurse that services the whole building. So just having extra resources or extra people with the same training, I think it just increases your probability of being able to save a life.
Cover the infant's mouth and nose with your mask.
In Detroit, Alicia Bergio, CBS News Detroit.
No, don't touch that dial. We'll be back with your weather and statewide news after this break.
Even before COVID, average life expectancies started going backwards.
That is a bad sign for our society.
This is our wake-up call.
We need to start preparing for future pandemics now.
The CDC is facing $1.5 billion in budget cuts.
This is a workforce that has been beaten and abused.
I see so many problems that can be fixed.
All the lessons that we're in a position to learn will be lost.
It's the politicization that's killing us.
Tonight at 9 on WNMU TV.
Hello and welcome back. My name is Beck Burley and I'll be giving you your public eye weather report. Taking a look behind me at the campus rooftop cam, it's looking a little bleak on campus right now. Not a whole lot of activity, but let's jump into some conditions around the UP. Starting off in Houghton, it is 32 with some cloudy conditions. In Ironwood, it is 30 with the same conditions. Down in Iron Mountain, it's 33 with partly sunny skies. And down in Menominee, it is 37 with sunny skies. Taking a look at the eastern side of the UP in Escanaba, it is 36 with cloudy conditions. In Manistee, it's 32. Over in Sault Ste. Marie, it is 30 with some snowy conditions. And back in Marquette, it is 35 and cloudy. Taking a close look at our conditions, we can see some winds out of the west-northwest at 23 miles per hour, with a barometric pressure of 29.38 inches and falling. Tonight, we can see some snowy conditions with a low of 19, winds out of the northwest at 28 miles per hour, and our moon phase is a waning crescent. I should also add that we are looking at a winter weather advisory between 4 and 8 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow, we can see some snowy conditions with a high of 33, a low of 17, and winds out of the south at 17 miles per hour. Looking ahead, this Wednesday, a high of 19, snowy conditions, and a low of 13. This Thursday, a high of 42, with some partly sunny skies and a low of 23. And this Friday, a high of 27, with cloudy skies and a low of 9 degrees. That's all I have for weather. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Beck, for that weather update. It looks like we're in for some more snow this week. Now moving into our statewide news, Attorney General Dana Nessel praised Governor Gretchen Whitmer on the recent signing of the House Bills 5400 and 5401. Governor Whitmer signed the House Bills 54-100 and 5401 that were sponsored by State Representatives Noah Arbit and Kristen Grant. Nessel said that the state's previous state laws were inadequate to deter and properly persecute. Nessel also said she has noticed the normalization of racist and anti-Semitic and language actions. An analysis of House Bill 5400 said that the resource demand from the legislation could have a negative fiscal impact on the state and local governments. On the other hand, House Bill 5401 would have no fiscal impact. The penalties for felony convictions would vary based on judicial decisions. And the director of NMU's Center for Forensic Science was praised for her work on uncovering unidentified bodies. Director Jane Harris was commended on her professional reputation for her hands-on learning opportunities and contributing to the Operation United. Harris played a huge role this past fall as she recovered bone samples from 7 homicide victims. She was commended for her work by the former FBI director and Philadelphia Police Department, or PPD. Ryan Gallagher, Assistant Director of the PPD's Office of Forensic Science, said that her efforts were more valuable as she worked hard. She joined in on the week-long project in Philadelphia and shared her knowledge of grave excavation and bone identification. And over the weekend, President Trump continued his flurry of executive moves, firing at least 15 inspectors general. Those are the independent government watchdogs meant to root out waste and fraud and abuse. Wei Hong Zhan shows us the controversy over the decision.
Mark Lee Greenblatt served as the Inspector General for the Department of Interior until late Friday night, when President Trump fired him, along with more than a dozen other IGs.
This is absolutely unprecedented. There is nothing that's ever happened remotely like this.
Greenblatt, who Trump appointed during his first term, worries about who could replace him. IGs are meant to be nonpartisan watchdogs who root out corruption and fraud.
The key is that our reports have credibility because we're independent. If all of a sudden, if you remove that independence, so what value does that report have?
California Senator Adam Schiff says Trump broke the law because he did not give Congress the required 30-day notice.
The American people, if we don't have good and independent inspector generals, are going to see
the swamp refill.
But Republicans like Senator Lindsey Graham were quick to defend the president.
Get new people. He feels like the government hasn't worked very well for the American people. These watchdog folks did a pretty lousy job.
Just 1 week into his second term, Trump has shut down DEI programs across the government, removed at least 20 State Department officials in leadership roles, and 160 staffers with the National Security Council were sent home while the administration reviews staffing.
It's just simply stunning in its scope and in its depth and in its speed. There's simply never been an administration, I think, in American history that has tried to do so much so fast.
Professor Don Kettle has studied the management of the U.S. government for 45 years.
What are the guardrails here that could stop President Trump?
And they're essentially challenging Congress to oppose what it is they're doing or to try to stop it, which Congress could do, but which Congress doesn't seem to have any inkling about doing.
This week, much of Washington will have eyes on 3 of Trump's most controversial picks to fill his cabinet. Senate confirmation hearings are scheduled for his nominees for the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, for Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and FBI Director Kash Patel. Those are 3 fierce loyalists who have some prickly records to defend. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, Miami.
After this break, Luke Niddle will recap the NFL Conference Championship weekend on your Public Eye Sports Breakdown. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, I'm Ken Burns. To make our film resources even easier to use, we've now created Ken Burns in the Classroom on PBS Learning Media. There you can find hundreds of video clips from our films, as well as lesson plans, activities, discussion questions, handouts, and interactives to help you integrate the films into your classroom instruction. I hope you find these resources helpful. Thanks for doing what you do.
Welcome back to Public Eye Sports. I'm your host, Luke Niddle, and I'll be taking you through our Monday breakdown. Kicking things off on the gridiron, the NFC and AFC championships wrapped up and sent the Eagles and Chiefs to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. For Philadelphia, 55-23 domination of the Commanders in the NFC East showdown punched their ticket to the big dance on the legs of Saquon Barkley, who was a one-man wrecking crew with 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. As for Kansas City, a late-game defensive stand was enough to outlast the Bills 32-29. KC is now the closest team ever to completing the three-peat, as no other team that won back-to-back Super Bowls has ever made the big game the third time around. This game will be also a rematch of Super Bowl 57 in 2023. And moving more locally to Motown, the Red Wings prep tonight to close out a 3-game homestand against a formidable LA Kings team. The Wings are fairly banged up heading into tonight, as they will be without Patrick Kane for the 3rd game in a row. As well, JT Compher and Vladimir Tarasenko will likely be out as well. Detroit will be feeling all 3 losses as they face a Kings defense that ranks top 5 in the entire NHL. Though it's not all doom and gloom for the Wings, as goaltender Cam Talbot has played well over the past 2 outings, logging 55 total saves and a shutout against the Lightning 2 nights ago. Puck drop for tonight is set for 7 p.m. And ending off on the slopes, both the men's and women's alpine skiing teams cleaned house in Biwabik, Minnesota this weekend at Giants Ridge. Both teams won the slalom and swept the podium and combined for 13 of the top 20 spots. Regan Ollie was the first of the 6 women's NMU skiers to finish and ended with a time of 1 minute and 21.49 seconds, fast enough to earn a gold. Aaron Grislak grabbed the top spot with a blazing time of 1 minute and 10.85 seconds in the men's category. The Cats hope to continue their dominance with another tournament in Minnesota next weekend at Spirit Mountain in Duluth. That's all I have for sports. Back to the news desk.
And that's unfortunately all the time we have at Public Eye News. I'm Bianca Kroll.
I'm Austin Graham.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.